Be talking to Shushma Kujic, and Shushma is going to be introducing a purpose-built approach to scaling businesses for impact. So a really interesting topic. And Shushma is from Avishkar Capital. So we're just getting him online. In the meantime, just so everybody's aware who are pitching, as part of our process, we'll give you about a 1-minute warning bell at the end of your pitch, so it allows you enough time to wrap up. So just in case you hear the MCs coming over the line, we'll give you a 1-minute wrap-up call as you're pitching. That way we're being courteous in terms of time, and we're ensuring that everybody gets a fair share of our schedule. In the meantime, there's a change to the schedule. So our team here is just letting me know that we're moving to Andy Isbister from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So Andy, we're looking forward to hearing from you from the Emerging Markets Impact Investing Fund, and I'm looking forward to hearing your pitch. Thanks, Andy.
Great, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. So the Emerging Markets Impact Investing Fund was established in July this year, so it's brand new, and with its primary aim of increasing access to capital for SMEs in the Indo-Pacific using non-grant finance to grow that impact investing market. It's a $40 million fund to be deployed over 10 years, non-grant investments into financial intermediaries, and there's a technical assistance component that supports the funds in which the EMIF will invest. So it's a fund of funds structure, and that technical assistance supports the funds in which EMIF will invest. And it also has, in the current environment, obviously, paid some extra attention to some of the impacts of COVID in the SME market, a part of the market that is already finds it difficult to get access to finance, and increasingly so in the current environment. Next slide, please. So, on to the next slide there. Thank you. So the EMIF will be managed by a consortium, Sirona, Mida, Volta, and the Whitelam Group, all sort of fulfilling different roles within the EMIF structure. And you can see that the table there of how the fund of funds structures work. So the EMIF invests in SME funds, and then those SME funds are investing down into individual SMEs, and the technical assistance fund off to the side there, which can support both the funds in which EMIF invests, but also the SMEs in an effort to sort of build that SME financing ecosystem. Thank you. Next slide, please. So in terms of geography and sector, the countries you can see on the slide there: Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Vietnam, PNG, and Fiji. And in terms of sectors, it's the EMIF is sector agnostic, and certainly open to the WASH sector. Have the next slide, please. So EMIF's objectives, we've heard some good presentations this morning around sort of gender lens investing and investing in women, the CF, and this is a real focus of EMIF is ensuring that all its investments use a gender lens to sort of strengthen the investments, but also to really support that part of the market, that part of the SME market. It addresses a key gap in the market. SME financing as a key gap, and as I sort of mentioned, that's obviously just sort of been exacerbated by the pandemic, made access to finance for SMEs even more difficult. in terms of how it invests, this is a new way of investing for the Australian government. We've learned some lessons from other interventions like investing in women, but in terms of the way this actually is structured in terms of how the Australian government deploys its aid program, this is something really quite new. So it's a pretty exciting sort of exploration into a different way of the Australian government doing development. And development impact is obviously at its core. So that sort of dual commercial return, but really with a really strong focus on impact. At the next slide, that slide's fine. Yep, thank you. So EMIF's investment strategy, as I mentioned, it is a fund of funds structure. So you can invest in venture capital funds, private debt funds, loans and or equity to non-bank financial institutions. And as I mentioned, also there's a real sort of industry building, sort of ecosystem building focus to the EMIF, particularly in places like the Pacific, obviously Southeast Asia as well, and South Asia, but the Pacific, where that ecosystem really is quite underdeveloped. So that's where that technical assistance piece really comes in to strengthen those aspects of how the EMIF works. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the EMIF's only just gone live on 1 July. So it's all pretty exciting from our side. So this, as I said, this is a new way of us doing development. And the EMIF's at the moment is building its pipeline. We expect its first investment to be in Q1 of 2021. So keep an eye out for us. And as I said, we're quite open to investments in the wash sector. So thank you for the opportunity to present.